Then the main event, the Eagle Khabib Nurmagomedov taking on Justin Gaethje, the highlight. This one is indeed a very fascinating fight and a fascinating matchup as far as their styles. Both guys, I think, are one another's toughest tests so far. Of course, Khabib, undefeated, dominant. He's mauling his opponents. He's got that heavy, relentless, takedown heavy attack. And he's fighting Gaethje, a gritty, high-paced, hard-headed power puncher with only 2 career losses. I think it's no secret what the questions in this fight are regarding the matchup. Can Khabib take Gaethje down, and can he keep him there? Gaethje's got an 80% takedown defense rate, which is pretty good. He's spent 17 seconds in the bottom position during his time in the UFC, so that's going to be no easy task for Khabib. However, he hasn't fought anyone with the wrestling credentials
Not even close.
of Khabib. So I think that's going to be a problem for Gaethje. Another big question in this one for me is, can Gaethje catch Khabib on the feet and knock him out? Certainly he has the power to do so. However, as we've seen with previous opponents, the threat of that takedown can often stifle and negate that power advantage that honestly most of his opponents have over him.
Mm-hmm.
So while I think Gaethje is an interesting matchup, I think that he poses some new challenges for Khabib. I think that Khabib's wrestling and top control is just too high level. If Gaethje is unable to stand up, that's kind of his defense when he's on his back, right? He doesn't offer a lot of offense off of his back, and I kind of think that's what's going to happen. I think Khabib's going to do what he does. I see him dragging Gaethje into deep water. I see Gaethje becoming exhausted in the later rounds, and I think the Eagle actually wins by either dominant decision or maybe a submission late. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Most fights with Khabib, I feel like my head is always scrambled trying to figure out what's going to happen, because we're in the same spot again and again, and we're always trying to convince ourselves why this is the guy.
Yeah.
And so I never know if this is really the guy or I'm just trying to convince myself that this is the guy. And every time I'm like, I think this is the guy. And then you see like, oh shit, Khabib's really good. He's incredibly dominant, one of the best MMA fighters of all time in any division, in any era. He's in the prime of his career, but Justin Gaethje, for a lot of the reasons you mentioned, he is just an absolute savage. When you have 22 professional wins, 19 by knockout, you know what he's going to do, and he's more refined and dangerous now under Trevor Whitman than he's ever been. Yeah. The inclusion of Kamaru Usman, now, I don't know how much these guys have trained together, but you have to think some of that has been going on in the training room. That's another big, strong wrestler that can give him valuable rounds, maybe mirror some of the things that Khabib does, because Kamaru is dominant in that same fashion.
Yeah.
I like where Gaethje's head's at. I like the quotes that have been coming out. He's been saying, Khabib, and I think he's true. I think Khabib doesn't like to get hurt. He doesn't like to get hit. And you say, well, who does? There's a lot of MMA fighters, including Tony Ferguson, that do enjoy that type of combat. But Khabib doesn't. He's never fought anybody that's going to try to bring that level of violence into the fight. Justin Gaethje this week said that he feels like Khabib's goal in a fight is to win and get hurt as least as possible. Yeah. And that he's going to do everything he can to hurt him. His body, his head, his legs, his soul, he said everything. He said he wants to give him brain damage. So I feel like he is the guy above all the other guys that we've seen compete with Khabib, where he does have the best chance and the most well-rounded skill sets to get it done. Yeah. Now, again, is that just me thinking that this is the guy, or convincing myself that this is a guy, because someone's got to be the guy eventually.
Right.
I love how Gaethje looked against Tony Ferguson.
Incredible.
The composure that he showed, the boxing, everything, the leg kicks, amazing.
Yeah. And the composure was huge. You mentioned
that.
But
I just think that even after saying all of that, I just think that Khabib, how does he lose this fight? Like, I keep coming back to that same question. How does Khabib lose this fight? Where does we see Justin Gaethje getting his hand raised? Well, it's not in decision.
No.
Khabib's going to have to get knocked out. He's not going to be by submission. So you have one way to win. Knock that guy out.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your one way to win, where you say, I'm going into this fight and I have to absolutely finish this guy to win, that's my only path, well, I'm going to take the other guy. And I think that you're right. I think Khabib, it might get dicey for him. In fact, I can almost guarantee it'll get dicey for him.
Some gnarly spots for Khabib in this fight.
But I think he's able to do what he does, get him against the fence, wrap the leg, take his balance away, start to wear on him, start to tire him out, start to land the punches. And I honestly think that this fight goes to decision.
Okay.
But I think that what you said too, if it ends up a 4th, 5th round submission like Conor or like Dustin, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because guys get exhausted on their back, understandably.
And I just think that Khabib, we've never seen someone as dominant as him on the ground. And it's hard for me to actually say that another guy, like Anik made a great point on his podcast.
I was about to say that, yeah.
We always talk and say, I'll take Gaethje. Because if he loses, it's like, Khabib is awesome.
Yeah.
But if he wins, you're like, I told you I was right. But it's like, all right, if someone had a pistol to your dog's head, who do you pick now?
Who do you pick?
I'll take Khabib. I'll take Khabib.
Wins,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, like, I've told myself, like, if I had to, bet a lot of money or bet on my dog, I would take Khabib. And I'm going to take Khabib in this one.
All right. I like it. Well, we're in agreement. There were actually in agreement on quite a few of those ones this week.
All of them, I think.
Yeah? Except Ion Kudalaba.
That's our blood rivalry.
That's the sticking point between us. Well, that does it for Tell Me Why and Whiskey Thoughts. We'll be right back with a little bit of Payment Pick'em.